What's up, Taurus? This is Jesse with 44 Astro with a full moon tarot reading for the full moon coming up on June 21st. This full moon is going to be at 1 degrees Capricorn. It is going to be at 9:07 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is going to put it in the 22nd mansion of the moon. Now, why do I always mention these mansions of the moon? Because all magic is based off of the movements of the moon. All ritual magic comes from the most ancient grimoires, like the Picatrix, for example, from ancient Babylon. Okay, it's the oldest versions of magic, and all is based off of it. So that's why I always mention the mansions of the moon, because of those of you out there, if you are doing any sort of ritual magic and you're not doing it based on the movements of the moon, you are doing it wrong. Now, with that being said, the moon itself is at 1 degrees Capricorn, but it's going to be called a strawberry moon, which means it's lit up by the star Taurus, which is called the heart of the Scorpion. It is a Scorpii. It is the fourth brightest star in our sky and arguably the largest star that we can see. It is a super red giant. Scorpio is a very small constellation. This moon will be in occultation, or just call it illumination, with that star. So it's going to look red or pinkish, which means it's going to be a very powerful and intense moon, because Scorpio is the sign of power. It is the sign of magnetism, intensity, those types of things, passion. Now, that also being said, the sun is in Cancer, and it's also conjunct Venus, right? So this is a good moon for love, or you would think so, right? But it's opposite the moon in Capricorn, so it's about love and legacy, right? So it's about beginning something new, love or legacy, right? But meditate and contemplate. You need to understand like where it's going. There has to be a bigger picture involved. There has to be, an idea of where, what the future, what's the legacy of what this is going to be. So if it is love, are you contemplating marriage, kids, these types of things, balancing your career, how you're going to get your prestige, these types of things. So the love and the legacy, they have to be balanced. You can't get love drunk and then just go off and just see where it goes, because that can be dangerous. Not only that, Neptune is square the moon, so be careful of self-deception. It is also square the sun, so also be aware of deception around you. Now, I'm not saying these people are going to all backstab you and do some crazy stuff. No, this is probably just going to be people rumoring and talking, because there's a lot of astrology that would suggest that social groups are going to be kind of shifting around, and like power changes and transformations within those. And if you are a Taurus ascendant, that's your 8th or 9th house where this moon will be. So if you're 9th house, you may be having arguments, or not even arguments, just discussions with an individual about your higher ideas about what the world is and your philosophies on life. But there could be self-deception involved, or they could be trying to deceive you in their own way to try to get you to their ideology. If it's the 8th house, that's transformation, sex, and death. So there could be, and this is only if you're a Taurus ascendant, right? So there could be, like I said, intense new love kind of coming, and it could be very sexual in nature. But there could also be transformations around the way you're doing something and then starting something new, because Cancer can be the birth of something new, because it can also represent birth or like nurturing. But you need to have the bigger idea. You need to know what the end goal is, or like be working toward whatever the legacy is going to be of whatever you're trying to create. And you may have to make a major transformation, or the death of something may have to happen in order for that to occur, or even the death of someone, because the death of someone may lead, regardless if they're directly connected to you or not, it could lead to like an opportunity. That kind of stuff happens all the time. Either way, I suggest that you do meditate and contemplate. But just be aware of like the self-deceptive aspect of any new things that come along right now. You may tell yourself it's this one thing, and it turns out to be something completely different. So just don't get like what they call it, love drunk, or don't get obsessed and just expect it to be this wonderful, amazing, great thing, and then not do the due diligence, or it ends up being something else more in line with what it normally is. That type of thing. Ooh, right there. Okay, that being said, let me get you some cards, Taurus. You got meditate and contemplate. You also got love, the lovers. So again, like I said, new love. This is definitely a time for some of us are going to fall in love. Now, whether it actually ends up being your long lost or your long awaited love or your soulmate, that type of thing. Like I said, with Neptune involved, it's unlikely. But it doesn't mean it can't be the case if you can see things for what they are and try to look at things to where they're going. That's why you should meditate and contemplate. Look at the big picture of it. Kind of see what you think the possibilities of where it could go. But it's a great time to definitely find new love. You know what I mean? In the sign of Cancer, the sun, which is love in and of itself, generally motherly love, but it's still love. And starting something new or the birth of something. Could even be some of y'all get some of y'all end up conceiving. You know, male or female, doesn't matter. You can conceiving. And that can kind of come out of nowhere, be a surprise, right? But then you got to look at legacy, and that would be your legacy at that point, because that child is going to be your legacy, right? But just be careful of like self-deception. Don't like get all these preconceived notions or these expectations, because expectations can let you down, because things work their own way. You just got to kind of be prepared. Know that like it's going to work out in its own way. You just got to do your best to be there and to work through it and be as open as you can. You know, meditate and contemplate. The core of your reading is some kind of message. So you're going to receive some kind of message. It's going to come to you. And it could be the message of a child because it's a page, right? It could be some kind of pregnancy thing going on, but likely it's just a message of some sort. And this is going to change your destiny. Or this is something that has to happen, but it's like, it could be a big shift in your destiny. Definitely going to be, whether it's a message, whether it's a message of a child, either way, it's some kind of big message, or a child, which would be huge, right? But you need to really think this out whenever this comes to you, whether it's a message or whether it's like some of you are going to have a child, that type of thing. Now let's see, if you did conceive a child in Gemini, so I mean, because it's a page of swords, would it come out as an air sign, 9 months later? I guess it just depends on when it was born, right? So Gemini would be like, it could be an Aquarius, but most likely it'd be a Pisces, depending on if you had it early, late, whatever. So that'd be interesting. And this is new moon in Pisces. Anyway, I'm getting too specific. This is a general reading. So most likely some kind of message that comes in, something that's going to be something that's destined. So it's like a big message coming in. The recent past, you were either traveling or you had an issue with a vehicle, or even you bought a new vehicle, something like that. But it could have been you were charging forward for something. You were moving forward quickly towards something. Or you won something. You were victorious in some way. But likely it's a vehicle or situation, especially if you see it in the recent past. Something with a vehicle maybe. Or maybe you met a Cancer. There's a lot in Cancer right now as far as the astrology. And that's the recent past, but the near future is love. So some of you are definitely finding love. Some of you may conceive. I don't know why that keeps coming in so strong, but again, this is probably some kind of message of love. And this may like turn your whole world. You're like, whoa, I didn't see this coming. Be strong. You're crowned by great strength. So whatever this is, you're ready for it. I think many of you even want it or expect it. I mean, Tauruses are very grounded, stable, reliable people. So like, there ain't nothing gonna throw you off kilter. Like, it'd be very difficult to throw a Taurus off kilter. Yeah, but like I said, if you do, you better run. It's not going to work out for you. This is at the base of the reading. This is in the unconscious influence. Could be a fire sign that you're involved with, if it's love, and it really does seem like it's love. But it could just be something you're really passionate about. This card screams Leo, by the way. This could be a Leo, and this is a Leo card too. Crowned by this card, which is a Leo card. This card could very likely be a Leo. So you could be an involvement in a Leo in some way. Whether it is the actual individual that's offering the love, or if it's just someone that's in your environment that's like in your a close social individual, whether it be family or friend or something like that that's involved. Or it could be you. You could have fire in your natal chart. But either way, that's the unconscious influence. This person's around there to kind of like help you. Most likely it's that they're on your mind. They're on your mind, so somebody close to you one way or the other. And it could definitely be this individual. mean, you can't make this up. It's turned into a love reading real quick, and I didn't even pay attention. This is a Taurus card, and it's the Empress, and it's also a pregnancy card. Some of y'all conceiving. It's a time of year for this, by the way. Like, humans tend to, this time of year gets a lot warmer. People start wearing a lot less clothes. A lot more things start happening. Catch my drift. It's definitely that time of year. This is you right now. This is you seeing things very clearly. You know, maybe you just knew this was coming, or that you knew that this was the person for you. That type of thing. One way or the other. Because this is clarity. It's victory too. And again, there was a victory back here, right? It's likely to be a victory. With this and the Chariot, could definitely be some kind of victory. You won in some way, or you felt like you won. And it could just be straight clarity, like, this is what it is. This is what it needs to be. And it's like, sometimes it's like that, where if everything just falls out in front of you and it's like, this is the path. It's nice when that happens. Doesn't seem to happen too often in my life. I always have to like, my path is like uphill, downhill, to the left, to the right. You know, and that's you right now, seeing things clearly, feeling abundant. So like, whatever the situation's got you feeling good. Like real good. You may just be in love. But like I said, look at the big picture too. Don't just get love drunk, because up here there's a confusion card, that moon. Which this is, to me, is a Neptune card. This is in your environment. It's saying you're seeing things very clearly. Now, again, this could also be an air sign that's around you that you may be involved with as well, especially if this is you, or this is like someone close to you that's like, you know, who you confide in. But it likely is just your clarity in this message. This message, whatever this message that comes in, or whatever this situation occurs, you're like, yes, this is what I wanted. Some of you may have been trying to conceive, and then like you finally got that, you got to conceive, and you're like, yes, finally. The advice is to be very patient, be balanced. You know, it's also gonna be a healing card, a creating card. So, but be patient, be balanced, especially if you're gonna invite a kid into the world. Some of you may just be a new relationship, a message that somehow leads you to be able to have all these things that you wanted, love, you know, the car, you know, the victory, the clarity. But the caveat that I've been talking about in the astrology the whole time, the outcome. You can't predict the future. Sad truth of the matter. We try here through divination. I wouldn't call it divination. It's the signal. Right? The signal that goes through us. Sometimes it hits, sometimes it misses. And this is generalized, right? I'm never going to tell you that I'm the psychic that predicts the future. I'm more just like a channel, right? Because I believe consciousness is a signal that's picked up by the gland in the middle of your head called the pineal gland. There's a gland right in the center of your brain, which is the king's chamber. It's the hypothalamus. It's the pineal gland, the pituitary gland. They're dead center of your brain. One controls like the physical body. The other controls consciousness. Think of it as like an antenna that picks up a signal. And that signal, by the way, comes from the moon. That's why our moon is really weird and doesn't make sense. Like all the other moons you see, our moon is really kind of unusual in the way it, just that one moon just sits around, controls our tides. That's why it's associated with your inner world, your thoughts, and your feelings. Oh yeah, I'm not going to get into all that. But this is confusion. This is secrets. This is not being able to see things for what they are. Not having clarity. This is showing clarity, right? But the outcome is leading to this. So careful with expectations. You know, this looks like it's going to start off really good, really happy. And I think it can be that way the whole time. But you need to see things for what they are, not what you want them to be. Because there's always going to be ebbs and flows and changes. That's what it's saying. Be very patient. And if some of you are going to be parents soon, or parents again even, you already know that. And Tauruses are already super patient, so I think you're good anyway. I think you're going to be just fine. Unless that Taurus has a ton of fire or air in their chart, they're going to be super patient. But it looks good, but it's saying meditate and contemplate. So like, this looks like a huge shift in life, one way or the other. I mean, it looks like it's for the better. It looks like it's specifically around love. Love and like clarity and truth and victory, which is very nice. It looks like you have everything you need, and it's like you got to take that big next step in life. You know what I mean? And like that's the wheel. It's like it's turning. Some kind of message, man. It's a good one. It's gonna like change your life for the better. Anyway, that's all I have, Taurus. Please consider liking, subscribing, and commenting. Also, hit the notification bell. My channel's not going to be recommended on your main page. It's just not. I'm too new, too small of a channel. If you don't hit the notification button, you're not going to see when I upload. I upload every new moon and full moon. So essentially every 2 weeks. I do it with the phases of the moon because, again, everything's based off of astrology. Tarot is even based off of astrology. Astrology is fundamental. Tarot's tertiary. It's based off of it. It needs astrology to exist. Astrology doesn't need it. It needs astrology. Astrology fundamental. Even religion. Everything. I'm not even going to go into all that. Either way, every new moon and full moon, because it should be based off of the movements of the moon. And those are the main phases that everyone knows about. Like, I'm not going to start doing a waning or waxing gibbous, you know what I mean? Just because, I mean, maybe I get deeper into this, maybe I will. But as of now. But anyway, you don't have to do any of that if you don't want to. I'm just grateful for that you're here, and I'm grateful for the view. And I hope to see you here again, Taurus. Happy full moon.